The concept has been kicking around in the nation's capital for years, but now, finally, legislation to put families with disabled children on the same financial footing as other families is on the verge of becoming law.
Advocates are still keeping their fingers crossed. Local 12's Jeff Hirsh joins us now with more on what's being called the ABLE Act. Jeff.
Well, good evening. There is already federal law which gives tax incentives if you save money for your kids' college expenses, 529 plans. You can invest that money and use the proceeds tax-free for tuition. But what if your kids are not going to college due to intellectual disabilities or need some sort of specialized education? That's where the ABLE Act, if it passes, comes in. In many ways, Ann Gerhardt is your typical teenager. In school, in sports and dance, and in helping around the house with Thanksgiving dinner preparations.
2 tablespoons of that.
In many ways, typical.
First off, I'm in junior at Chopin High School, and I have a wonderful life.
Ann has friends and activities, but she also has Down syndrome, which limits her academic and financial future. That's one reason her parents have been fighting so hard for a federal law called the ABLE Act, Achieving a Better Life Experience.
When this thing was initially conceived 8 years ago, Ann was 8 years old.
The ABLE Act would let those with disabilities like Ann have a tax-free savings plan, just like the so-called 529 investment plan parents can use to help pay for college. The ABLE Act could help pay for housing, transportation, education, and other expenses for disabled children, plus create savings for those children once they grow up.
I think everybody has the terror of when they're 18, when they're 22, when they have gone through transition and suddenly they're an adult, and then now what? Where are they going to work? How are they going to work? How are they going to support themselves? And it's scary for all of us.
Also scary for disabled individuals like Ann. If they qualify for Social Security or Medicaid, current federal law limits them to $2,000 in assets total and about $800 a month in earnings. That's it.
So if you do the math, it relegates that person, if they're able to work and save some money, to an impoverished lifestyle or risk the loss of Medicaid and Social Security, which for many people is extremely important.
The ABLE Act allows savings on top of those earnings limits. Ann has career goals. Right now it's hostess in a restaurant. She likes meeting new people, but goals can change.
I like to do fashion. I also like health, not math. I also like science, so I can make my own PowerPoints.
And perhaps make a bit of history. Ann has lobbied House Speaker John Boehner about the ABLE Act. A vote is expected in Congress next week.
Yes, I'm fairly confident. I already have my plane ticket too, so they better.
Not refundable, is
Not
it?
refundable, right.
This means everything to him.
The ABLE Act is one of the rare examples of bipartisan cooperation these days. 385 sponsors in the House and 74 in the Senate, so it should pass easily. The question is letting the bill to the floor for a vote. Chip Gerhardt, he's Ann's dad that you saw, says Speaker Boehner's office has assured him a vote is scheduled in the House. It's also expected in the Senate. The ABLE Act covers all disabilities, not just Down syndrome, although the Down Syndrome Society is among the agencies out in front. Back to you.
Jeff Hirsh, thanks very much. If you'd like to learn more about the ABLE Act or about Down syndrome, go to our website at local12.com, click on the red Get It button.